Come on. Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? Thank you ever so much for tuning in, and welcome to my first official broadcast as Reboot with Claire. I'm going to be very lucky in being joined by my wonderful friend, Neusa Catoja, today, and I am so looking forward to this. We're going to be jumping into some very interesting things today, and we'll see you very soon. Hello, my love. Hello.
Trying to finish my breakfast.
That's okay. I always say it's the behind the scenes stuff that's like the highlight of this for me.
Yeah.
It's always things. I've actually gone and dropped coffee down myself. So that was a fantastic move, wasn't it? But don't worry.
I got
the
mine
show
right here.
will always go on. And hello and welcome everyone today to this fantastically exciting broadcast where we are going to be talking about the very interesting subject of intrusive thoughts and how you can actually turn those around to empower yourself. Now, Nelson, my love, would you like to give a bit more of an introduction around your particular area of expertise for us?
So without going into my story too much, I can say I'm an overcomer of mental health. What I suffered for about 5 years was body dysmorphic disorder, which meant I had depression, I had social anxiety, I had body shaming, body hate issues, and I had suicidal thoughts. So that was probably about 4 years ago. Now I turned my life around by changing my thoughts. And as Wayne Dyer says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I started to change the way I looked at things because I knew, for example, that medication wasn't going to help me. I still needed to do the work, and I knew inside of me I could. So I went on this journey to healing myself, and I had to do it through being gentle with myself, self-care, being kinder to myself, allowing myself not to be okay in certain moments and allowing myself to feel negative at times, but then realizing that I had the tools to be able to turn that negative thought into a positive thought, which is what we're going to talk about today. So I am a product of what I've overcome. And I teach women, especially women within the wellness industry, which I believe you are part of, Claire, which when I say wellness industry, because people are like, oh, yeah, but I'm not a fitness instructor, I'm not this. No. Wellness means you have a product or service to help somebody else's well-being. Like this is a product or service to help someone else's well-being. It's a channel, it's a show that's talking about mental health. So you're already helping someone's well-being. So I support women out within the wellness industry to basically walk their talk, because as an ex-personal trainer, which is what started my journey into body dysmorphic disorder, I looked the part. To my clients, I looked amazing. It looked like I felt amazing, but deep down inside, I was broken. So I put on a mask to serve the world, but then I was serving the world with an empty stomach. Empty stomach, looking at my phone. I was serving the world from an empty cup, right? Yeah. So I realized that a lot of people who are service providers, light workers, supporters, especially that have gone through their own mental health challenges, what gets them out of bed is helping somebody else. But I wanted to change that. I didn't want it to be where, these well-being people are doing amazing stuff for helping other people feel better. But if you're giving something, you can't give something that you don't have for yourself. So I help them in pouring into themselves, which enables them to love themselves. And then because they have a business, I also support them for a minimum of 3 months to literally let's forget that word, to literally elevate in their business in a way that they want to. So they actually love what they're doing and they feel good. So the energy of them feeling good means they are helping more clients, they're attracting more clients, they are supporting and doing what they love from a space of love, and that means you bring in the income, you attract the right people, you're feeling in abundance, and things are just flowing the way that you're supposed to flow. And the reality is that you love what you're doing.
Yeah.
So, I'm now an author, as I'm sure we'll cover, a poet. I'm very, very much, mental health is one of my biggest passions. Anyone that says, let's talk about mental health, I'm there. I've spoken in many organizations for free, charity organizations, to raise awareness. And now I get paid as an international speaker to actually speak and empower women and, change the world.
It's astonishing. It's absolutely astonishing. Obviously, your wonderful energy is something that I love to be around. You are just fantastic. You're such a beautiful soul. You do such incredible things. And even like down to your posts, your poems, everything that you share is all about healing, and it's all about, generating that self-love that is so important, isn't it? So important. So thank you ever so much for sharing that with us today. Now, obviously, one of the points you highlighted there was actually, you've had your own journey, and that's what makes this so much more powerful, because you know what it feels like to have been in the dark places, to have been in the the places that don't feel so comfortable to be in. Now, what you did tell me is you changed your thoughts, didn't you? That's something I've had to do myself as well, because as we've discussed before, I've had depression, anxiety. Still have, but it's managed now. Depression, anxiety, CPTSD, and at the very lowest point, that was what I had to do. I had to actually, reprogram those thoughts that were going on in my head. So instead of disempowering me, they were empowering me to get up in the morning and to start whatever my day was going to be. Excuse me. And, where do you think that process starts? How do you think you begin to tell yourself this is not the way it's supposed to be?
I'm going to say the process starts when you've had enough, right? It starts when you're like, you know what? I don't want to live like this anymore. It has to be so painful that you can no longer accept where you are. Like, I didn't accept where I was. I suffered for 5 years. At the time, my daughter was only 12 years old, going into secondary school. I felt like, how can I be an example to her? Number one, the choice to end my life wasn't a choice. I couldn't do that for me, and I totally empathize with people that have taken that route because they feel there's no other choice, And for me, I still felt I had choices because I was aware. And that's another thing. The first thing you have to do, let me backtrack, is you have to get to the point of you've had enough, and you also have to get to the point of awareness, You have to be aware that in a way you are creating your circumstances and your situations by the thoughts that you allow to play in your head. And the reason why I say this is that I lived for 5 years waking up every single morning, or not sleeping, should I say, and getting out of bed and going, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm not going to get out of bed today. Today's going to be a bad day. I'm never going to get better. Pills don't work for me. Everything was so negative for 5 years, right? And then when I realized that I could be grateful, and somebody said it to me, somebody just said, just be grateful for the little things that you still have control over. Thank you for the 1 hour sleep. Thank you that I'm still alive after 5 years. When I started to use the little power of gratitude by saying thank you each and every day and creating these habits of just saying thank you, I realized one day that my thoughts weren't so negative anymore, because you can't say thank you and then feel negative. It will still come up. Don't get me wrong. You can wake up in the morning and say thank you. today's a good day. And then you go through the day and those negative thoughts are going to keep running around. But it's reminding yourself, okay, if I was able to kind of cut those thoughts in the morning that would normally be would be disempowering, what can I now do again that's empowering? So as soon as a negative thought would come into my mind, which is, oh, I'm exhausted, especially the word I am, I'd go, I'm going to get up and go for a walk, right? Yeah. Now I'm feeling empowered. Yes, I feel exhausted. That's okay. You're not going to win, but I'm going to go for a walk. Because if I just sit on my sofa and say I'm tired, of course, if you're sitting on a sofa, you're going to keep feeling tired, right? But as soon as you go outside and get a little bit of fresh air, you feel a bit awake. Then the next thought would be, oh, but what if somebody, this is what happens in our intrusive thoughts. What if somebody sees me and I haven't got my makeup on? Okay, now I have to go and makeup on. And now I've got to put my makeup on, and now it's going to take me longer, and then it's going to take me 10 minutes. And we start thinking about all the worst case scenarios. All the anxiety starts to come in, right?
Yeah.
Again, how do you empower yourself when these negative thoughts come in? You start going, okay, I know I still got to get myself ready, but you know what? Let me just get out anyway. It's going to do me good. I'm going to feel great when I go outside. I'm going to feel better. So it's the constant conversation, the negative versus positive, the negative versus positive. And this is how we start to change our thoughts and the way we look at things, because I was stuck for 5 years, depressed and anxious. And as quickly as it shifted from me feeling like an amazing personal trainer, feeling really, really good, to not being able to wake up in the morning, it's as quickly as I could shift from not feeling good to feeling good by saying the right things, right? So I shifted that by creating healthy, small habits, right? Of negative thought, positive.
Yeah. That's a really important.
Yeah.
Sorry, my love. It's a really important point you've just touched on as well, because one of the key things I noticed you said there was I am. You know, we don't realize how much these little thoughts create our identity, and they create the internal narrative that we have for ourselves.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like you just said, turning it around and turning it into something that can be empowering and fulfilling is the thing that people need to try and do. Instead of saying I am tired, yes, admittedly, 9 times out of 10 we're all very tired. But I am powerful is another one you can use, so you can overcome whatever these blocks are for getting you out of bed in the morning.
Exactly.
I am powerful. I am strong. I am,
amazing.
I've just gone really blank. Sorry, I've just gone really blank.
I'm amazing. I'm great. It's like powering up yourself, right? Someone said to me, if you stand in a mirror and you do the Superwoman pose in front of the mirror, put your chest up, straight away you feel good, because when we're not feeling good about ourselves, our body posture's like this. We're like this, we're slumping, right? As soon as you go like that, you feel good already, right? And as soon as you start saying, you could be like this and you go, I'm powerful, I'm amazing, I'm great, I'm alive. Like all of a sudden you start to feel like really good, right? And the way I see it is, whatever you tell your friend, your best friend, whatever you tell your child, become that child, become that person, become that child to yourself. So tell your child, you're beautiful, you're amazing, and say that to yourself. It empowers you. And even the thing that you said, I am, is a very, very powerful word. However, we can feel tired, we can feel angry, we can feel frustrated, we can feel disappointed, we can feel rejected, but we don't say, I am disappointment, I am disappointed. What you can say is, if you want to, like, I'd say disconnect from saying I am tired, you can add one simple word, I am feeling tired.
Yeah.
Because a feeling can be changed at any given moment, right?
Yeah.
And it's you still have the power. But if you say I am tired, you're disempowering yourself. But if you say I am feeling tired, however, I'm going to get up and go for a bit of a walk, that's already positive, because you're allowed to feel, right?
Yeah, it is. And one of the most incredible things I found, when I was going through, It's so hard to imagine being in that place again.
Yeah.
So hard for me right now. It's almost to the point where it feels like it happened to someone else. And that's a really strange kind of connection that I now still have to make, because I'm like, this was me. This was a process that I went through. And this was a process that it felt like I was being reborn. It felt like I broke into millions of tiny pieces and I had to rebuild myself, but rebuild myself into a person that I knew I would be proud of, and that I knew, you know, would be the one that says, this is not how my story ends. This is where my life is just beginning. And this is now the new leveled up version of me. What can I go out and do now I'm this person?
Right.
You know? And it went from being where my own intrusive thoughts were completely like constant in my head. I even suffered from, before I began my medication, really ruminating, disempowering thoughts. But it went from being like that was my normal, that was my loop in my head, to started to quieten down now. Wow, that's nice. Those thoughts aren't going around my head anymore.
Yeah,
but
you're like,
what do I put in place of them?
Yeah.
You know, am I just going to feel like, at one point my medication made me feel excuse me, that I was completely emotionally disconnected from everything.
Yeah, I had that. I did try it for like a week,
So
and I
weird.
just felt numb.
Yeah, it was so weird. And it was even to the point where, like, my mum would say to me, you're coming across really cold. And I'd be like, oh. And that would be it. Like, oh.
My mum said to me when I did it, she said, it's like you weren't there. She said, like you were present, but you weren't there.
Yeah. It was exactly the same for me. And it's weird. But then I realized this must be how it feels to not have all that noise in my head. Like, if I haven't got all the noise in my head, I can recreate it, and I can say, right, what do I want to feel like? So I took my baby steps for months, and obviously it was a continuous process of, you know, one step forward, two steps back, one step forward, two steps back, as it usually is with any big change. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
But instead of saying to myself, I'm having a bad day, you know, I can't really deal with this, it's a bit too difficult, I might go back to bed, you know, I said, do you know what? My mission is to be happy. And if your mission is simply to be happy, you choose the way you look at those situations. And you choose the way that they are playing out. You know, I became less sensitive to, you know, confrontation, because I thought, do you know what? I can't be dealing with that. It does not serve me. It doesn't fit into my internal narrative. It's not something that I feel like I need in my life. So I just don't engage with it. It just doesn't interest me. Flat out, not interested. I'm more interested in constructive, healthy conversations that reach a point of resolution and understanding for both parties than I am about pointless confrontation. You know? So things like that began to change when the thoughts in my head were rewritten into something healthier.
Yeah.
Can I just jump down to the comments? Because we've got Adam present. Hello, Adam. Wonderful to have you here. As I mentioned before, Adam is the fantastic person who runs this incredible group. And he's asked a question. He said, I have a question. How important is it to show those emotions when we're feeling negative? That's a really good question. Would you like to start off, Neusa?
It's an amazing question, Adam. Thank you so much for asking. Our emotions matter, right? And I'm going to go right back to spirituality, right? We were created to feel everything, right? So why do we stop it? Why is it, especially, I'm going to mention men if I can, if you guys are okay with that. Why is it that men are afraid to cry? Not afraid, are ashamed to cry, right? Even myself, when I went through it, because I was so independent, single mother, very much on the masculine side, protect, provide, do everything myself. If I cried, or if I show my vulnerability, people are going to think I'm weak, right? But I realized that my vulnerability, it was my power. Like when I and allowed myself to say, I don't feel good. I cry almost every day. I cry because I can't enjoy life. I cry because I've lost myself. I had people coming to me and wanting to listen and to provide support. If I kept quiet, nobody would know that I'm not okay. So, to answer that question, Adam, is that we were born with all these beautiful emotions, right? We should feel them. We should allow ourselves. And I say this, and I'm going to give you an exercise that you can do, Adam, and anyone else listening. I call it the heart exercise, and it's here in my book. Even though this book was written for women, it can also be applied for men. It's Soul of Woman, a Journey to Self-Love. There's me at the front, right? There's exercise in there. There's coaching and NLP, neuro-linguistic program exercise that you can go through the book yourself and do it. There's an exercise in there I show right at the beginning. Place your hands on your heart. Take 3 deep breaths and really connect with the breath, right? We can do this. Let's do this now, right?
Yeah, why not?
Adam, join in with us. So place your hands on your heart. Close your eyes, as long as you're not driving, obviously. And just connect with your breath. So deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. I want you to do is just listen to your breath. Do it again. One more time. Breathe in. Now, the question that you ask yourself after you've gotten yourself into a nice, calm state of mind, because now you're connecting to your subconscious, you say, Adam, which is your name, and I'll say Neusa, what do I really need right now? And then you continue to breathe and listen to the first voice that comes into your mind, right? The first voice would either be, it always happens to me in, I need rest, I need to go and play, I want to feel loved, I want to hug, or I just want to be still, right? That voice will tell you what you want. Give it what it needs. That's allowing yourself to ask yourself, what do I need? How many people come to you and go, how are you feeling today, Adam? How are you feeling today, Claire? Really, how are you feeling? The question that people come normally is, how are you, mate? How are you, hun? Are you okay? And you barely got time to say. And if you turn around and you go, actually, I'm not feeling great, you know. Today was a bad day. I wasn't feeling myself. That person will then turn around and go, you know what? I felt like that, but you know what? I just got on with it. And now I'm out. You just got to get on with it. You don't just have to get on with it. You have to allow yourself to feel that emotion that you felt that morning. So it's so important to feel and to show your emotions because they're a part of you. The more you suppress your emotions, the more it comes out as illness, disease, headaches, anxiety, depression, more of the horrible things, because if your emotions aren't being met, it will show up in a different way because it's still screaming to be heard, right? Our bodies are so amazing. If you're suppressing crying, it's going to show up on your skin, or it's going to show up as something more serious. It's going to show up as, constipation, anxiety, whatever it is. If you are not allowing your emotions to be, it's going to try and ask you and remind you in a different way. So to answer your question, it's very, very important. You matter first. Your emotions matter. You are a human being that's allowed to feel all those things. And if you feel like, you know what, I don't want to show it around people, do it in your own time. Just say, you know what, I don't want, because maybe I don't feel comfortable showing it to somebody. For me, I chose selective friends that I felt comfortable speaking, because I remember I had a friend and she took me out for lunch, and I mentioned this a lot, I even said it in a book. And when she read the book, she really apologized to her about how she felt, because she just recently had a baby and I hadn't been sleeping for like 3 or 4 years. She took me out, she knocked on my door randomly, got myself out of bed. And sometimes you have to put on a front. Yeah, I put on a front to go with her. And then she said, how you been? How you feeling? And I said, you know what? Things aren't great. I'm not feeling great and I'm still not sleeping. Straight away, she turned around and she goes, yeah, I know exactly how you feel, because my baby won't sleep at night. So I have to keep up and look after my baby. And I looked at her and I thought, how can you compare the fact that I can't sleep because I've got a mental health issue to you not being able to sleep because you've got a baby? Like, but I didn't say it. When she said that to me, it stopped me from being able to show my emotions and be honest with her. And then I tried another step. She then said, you know what? You are looking a bit brighter, you know. You're looking a bit better. And I thought, I don't feel it, you know. She goes, you know what? You just need to get out a bit more. You just need to go, maybe get going to work. And it was so exhausted. It was so exhausting just to try and explain how I feel. But then have myself shut down to the point where I was just like, you know what? She's not the right person. I'm wasting so much energy. I thought she had the space to hear me. I thought I could connect with her, but she wasn't in that space. And it's okay. So what I did is I chose another friend that would actually listen and say, you know what? How about this? Or let me just take you for a walk. Because a lot of the times when we open up to people, we don't want a solution. We just want to be heard, right? So for me, it's like, even as a coach, when somebody comes to me, I don't give them a solution. They tell me what the solution is. I ask the questions and they tell me. In that instant, when I told my friend that I'm not sleeping very well, she could have said, I'm really sorry you're not sleeping. Is there anything that I can do to help? She could have said, you know what, how about when I'm up with the baby at night, I'll drop you a quick text to see how you're doing. I would have been like, you know what, that's nice. That's cool. It shows that she cares. Not comparing my situation, diminishing my situation to compare it to yours. And then the conversation turns around on you. And it's like, I don't matter anymore. So I was very selective as to who I was honest and showed my emotions and my vulnerability to.
That's so important. Can I just stop you there, Nelson, my love? We have to do a quick bit of housekeeping. Thank you. Just to say, everyone, please tune in at 6:30 p.m. UK time, as Adam will be here to ask, what is your purpose in life? When he will be joined by Annette Chiappi. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Sounds good.
Yes, and just going back to what you were saying, Nelsa, it is so important to not only have that person who understands, but maybe who might have had a similar journey themselves, because the empathy element. And I know what it's like if you choose the wrong person to trust. You know, there's a very much like a norm in society, which is, oh, I just get up and get on with it, or oh, you know, we all go through bad patches and all that sort of thing. But the difference between having that as a blanket statement and really sitting there with the person and being present through their struggle will help you to appreciate the journey that person is on.
Right.
You know,
right.
And I often see life as very, it's a journey, it's a storybook, it's got chapters. My chapter, what did I say before? My chapter 7 is very different to what my chapter 20 is. You know, people meet you along a point in the journey. And some people stick around to see, you know, this time, whenever you're a completely different person and the difference shows, and other people meet you at another point in that journey, don't they? But I would say that, you know, it's hard to sometimes know who you can trust with your emotions. If that person isn't on a similar wavelength or a similar level of understanding, because you know, as a coach and a speaker and everything else that you have transformed yourself into, that there are different points of that consciousness, aren't there? You know, we might be at a very high level of consciousness. It is, isn't it? Thank you. We're at a very high level, but someone who's just kind of gotten with their journey, accepted, you know, this is how it's going, blah blah blah, might not have developed that level of consciousness yet. Do you think that's a really important
very much so. So if I go back, and I'm grateful you explained it like that. If I go back to the reason why I opened up to this friend, is because I believed, and I still believe, that this person has those mental health issues. However, there's people that live in denial. And there's people that live in denial because they're good at giving you advice, but they're not following it themselves. But deep down inside, they're suffering. And remember, I said to you at the beginning, they're suffering, but they put on a mask. This beautiful friend of mine, and I believe she's the most strongest woman I've ever met, right? She's overcome some hurdles in her life, but she's so good at masking it and sharing with the world that everything is rosy. That when she went out with me to give me the support, really and truly, she needed the support, but I couldn't give it to her. So I felt she's the right person because I thought if I open up, she will open up too. But she wasn't ready, or as far as I'm concerned, not as far as I'm concerned, but maybe she doesn't realize she has a problem. She could feel, and there's a lot of people walking around thinking that I'm suffering, I'm depressed, I'm anxious. This is the norm. This is just how life is, right? It's not how life is. You are meant to be happy. You're meant to wake up every morning with a spring in your step. Not every morning. Some days you might not, but you're meant to wake up excited about life. About 80% of the time, because other times, there's circumstances, deaths and breakups, and the world goes round and things happen, but you yourself can find that inner happiness. Life is meant to be free, easy, amazing, and beautiful, right? We're all meant to be loved and share love. However, there's so many people in this lifetime walking around not conscious. Like you said, they haven't reached that level of consciousness, and they think this is just how life is, right? I've just got to keep it moving. I've just got to keep going. So my friend is that type of person, but they have to get to a point, like I said, which is enough is enough. This is not life. I'm not going to live another day feeling like this, because at a point in my life, I felt really happy. And if you've never felt happy in your life, create it, like you said, right? You can create, because happiness is not outside of ourselves. Happiness is within, right? So many sometimes you hear people going, I'm going to be happy when I get £1,000, £2,000, and when I win the lottery. I'm going to be happy when I get into a new relationship. No, you're not. Because if you're not
happy to begin with.
If you're not happy now, let me tell you something. That good relationship is not going to come. That amount of money is not going to come, because everything comes with energy. And that's one thing that you covered as well, Claire, which is in order for you to be able to connect with the right person and open up, it's all about consciousness, and it's all about energy. Yeah. Right? When you're conscious, right, and you reach that level of consciousness, you attract who you are and what you are and where you are, right?
Yeah.
Right? So if you're feeling really, really low, when I was feeling really, really low, the amount of negative people and people that wanted to take advantage that I attracted was crazy, because I was in that same vibration. But then when
I felt the same.
My vibration changed and elevated, those people fell away, because I was no longer attracting them. And now I'm attracting people like you, Claire. You're attracting people like me. But we was already in that situation where when we was depressed and we both have very similar life's challenges, we probably would have attracted each other where we were then, right?
Yeah.
So we attract. So, if somebody's sitting there thinking, okay, I don't really know, I'm not really attracting the right people, I don't really know who I can trust, reach out to somebody like me or like you that could say, you know what, let me support you. Fair enough, we're strangers, but because we're experts and we're speaking from experience, right, we'll see you as you are. We won't see you as this person is always depressed and this person used to do this, because this is the problem. A lot of our friends and family will see us in terms of where we are, or in terms of where we were and who we were, or what perception they have of us. But when you meet somebody new in confidence, which we keep everything confidence, you can say, look, this is the situation I'm facing. I really need the support. We will look at you in terms of where you are now and where do you want to go. We're not going to go, let's go back to the past, because we're not therapists here. We're not counselors. Counselors may go back to the past and make you emphasize the situation and so on and so on. I have my own opinions about counselors and therapists, right? Let's just not go there. But for me,
why do you think that is?
Yeah, you want to take me back to a moment I actually don't want to go back to. Why? You want me to sit here and tell you all of these negative things, and then I'm going to come out emphasizing everything and feeling even worse? No, I want you to tell me, what can I do to come out? So as coaches, we look at where you are now as an individual, and we say, right, if you came to me, I'll say, Claire, what do you really want? And you'd be like, you know what? I just want to sleep. I want to feel happy. Okay, what do you think you can do to make you sleep? Or what are you currently doing that's stopping you from sleeping? So I'll say, what are you currently doing? I'm not going to say, what did you do yesterday, the day before, the week before that's stopping you? I'm going to say, what are you currently doing? Or I might say, what have you tried in the past that worked? If you tried that and it worked, why don't we do it like this? Or we don't even say, why don't we do it? Just say, if you worked in the past, would you be willing to try again? So we guide you with something that you already have within yourself, right? And we get it out of you. So the transformation can be very, very quick, as opposed to you seeing a counselor or therapist for many, many, many years and not reaching a result. And I'm not saying there's no good counselors and therapists out there. There are. I'm not going to say that. But from my own experiences, the ones I had wasn't good. But I got one psychologist, which was like a coach. And within 4 weeks, this psychologist enabled me to realize that I had to take responsibility. So like I said, there's some good therapists out there, but it's knowing which one is helping you. And the way for you to measure that is, I saw this person for about a week or two. Every time I see this person, I feel a bit more hope. I feel a bit more uplifted. But if you're dreading, which was like me, would be the past, a psychiatrist and psychotherapist that I saw, when you're dreading going to see them because you're like, I'm just going to sit there and they're going to listen to me. I remember one psychotherapist used to sit me down, say to me, oh, you're being very hard on yourself. I'm really sorry. But why do you think you're being hard on yourself? And then she'd put on a CD on a computer of meditation and let me listen to it for 20 minutes. And then my session was over.
Wow.
I saw her twice. I said, I don't want to see her no more. What are you doing for me? I don't want to be sitting there and go, I don't even know why I'm being hard on myself. So why are you asking me those questions? Like, I wanted to just go, do you really enjoy your job? Do you really know what you're doing? Or you're just getting paid to listen to me for 40 minutes and then send me on my way? Oh, and I'll see you next week. There was no empathy. There was no, I'm holding a space for you. There was no result at the end of our session. For me, how am I going to look forward to coming in and sitting down with you and watching a CD? I feel like you're really wasting my time.
It's quite interpersonal, isn't it?
Right. It was very impersonal. It's very like, I'm here to do a job.
Yeah.
And then they look down at you like you really have a problem. You're broken. I wasn't broken. I didn't have a problem. Mental health issue is not a problem, right? Mental health issues is something we all go through. We all face, whether it's good mental health or bad mental health. There's not one person in this planet that's not suffered with some kind of mental health issue, right?
Definitely.
There's not. And if somebody comes to me and says to me, I've never suffered, I'm sorry, I do not believe you. There's been levels, or even if it's like a death in a family, you were down, you were grieving, that's mental health issue. Mental health means something is really disturbing my mind and making me feel very, very unlike myself. I don't feel myself, you know? And sometimes it can be temporary, but in our situation where we were, it could have been permanent, but we decided enough is enough. We made that choice to say, no, I'm not going to live with this anymore.
Yeah. And it's really important, I think, also, that knowing you have the power to be able to change your thoughts like that, like we know, you know, we're very different people from who we were, you know, a few years back, because we've consciously changed the narrative within our heads. But obviously, it's also important to highlight that people have, you know, chemical imbalances. And that's ultimately what things are. They're chemical imbalances within your brain. You know, they're not personal flaws. They're not, you know, conscious choices sometimes. They are chemical imbalances that mean that your brain deals with things a little bit differently to how someone else's might. You know, and there are so many elements to mental health, of course, that are, you know, it could go on for hours. There is so much to it. But the most important thing is that you remember that, you know, your condition or your, you know, your challenge it's a part of you, but it's not the whole you.
No.
Is it? You know, really losing my voice. Sorry, sweet.
You know what, that part of you is like it's trying to get your attention.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, the way that I look at it is there's so many elements to a person. They come to us with a specific element that they are finding challenging. Fair enough. It might be a relationship, it might be a daily routine struggle, it could be anything.
Yeah.
But it's that situation that we ultimately help them to find more power within. That's not to say that the other parts of the person aren't important. It's really important to take a holistic view, in how things impact upon someone's life.
Right.
But you're never going to sit down and study someone's entire life and be like, this will solve all of your problems.
No.
That's impossible, and there are obviously different professionals as well that deal with different elements. Ultimately, what we do as coaches is we help people to establish healthier routines or better ways of thinking that empower them to move forward. Isn't
100%.
it?
100%. And I think I'm right to say it's Adam when he said about coming back to a show about discussing our inner self. It really is about, and us as coaches, for example, most of the people that come to us, they're not feeling themselves.
Yeah.
They don't even know who they are. They've lost their sense of identity. They've lost their sense of purpose. We're all seeking a purpose, right? And our inner self knows our purpose. We know what we're meant to do, right? But we're so blocked by so many things. I've got to do this. I must do this. My family says I've got to do this. I've got to be perfect. I've got to get up in the morning. I should be earning more money. I should have a better degree. I should have a better job. All of these things create an imbalance in our brain, right? And then we can go as deep as trauma, create an imbalance in a brain, right? Trauma could have been from childhood that's stuck in our subconscious mind. And as we become adults, we start to realize, I want to do these things, but something stops me. I want to be in a happy relationship, but I keep bringing negativity to my relationship. I want to do this, but this is happening. Like consciously, you want to be a better person for this relationship that you're in, but subconsciously, we cannot tap into our subconscious mind just like that. Subconscious mind is running the show. So that's why we have coaches that work on limiting beliefs, which I do.
Yeah.
So we work on your limited beliefs to help you to move forward. So things that help is things like journaling helps you to tap in, because when you're writing, you start to tap into something that you're like, oh, I didn't know was there. When you're speaking to somebody that's willing to listen, you start to speak and something comes out and you're aware, oh my God, I didn't realize that was there. When you start to express yourself, like the way I see it with us that have suffered with mental health is that we're gifted, right? We are so gifted and we're so special. We don't realize. So we have to get into a point in our lives where things become chaos for us to go, nah, this bubble is about to burst. We've got this chemical, this is what the doctors call a chemical imbalance. I'm not being myself. I'm not allowed to be myself. I feel so closed into this bubble of what society expects of me. And then we explode. When we explode, we get to the point where it's like, you know what, enough is enough. I just want to find who I am. So we coaches, and you can even do this yourself. I know I keep saying coaches, but you can do this yourself. You have to ask yourself, who am I? Who do I desire to be? And what makes me feel happy? When you ask yourself those questions, even if you don't know, something will come out. Write it down, right? Our brains are absorbers to every single thing that we write. And I mentioned this at a talk last night. When we're born, we come with a blank canvas. Our brain is empty. When we listen to our parents, people around us, our friends, we are a sponge. We're sponging, taking on all these amounts of information that starts to become our identity, our makeup, right? That's why a lot of us will be like, oh, I'm like my mom. Oh, I'm like my dad. We develop their characteristics as well as our own and what people say, and we become those things, right? So now we've got all of this stuff in our brains that gets stored. If there's trauma, that gets stored as well. It continues to develop viruses. And if somebody says something that triggers something that happened in your childhood, it's another thing that's trapped in your subconscious mind. So you keep doing this, and you never really work on your own mental well-being, such as things that help, like meditation, like journaling, like balancing yourself, like doing yoga, meditation, mindfulness stuff. All of that stuff helps to bring you back into a state of calmness, to remove all of these things that are in your brain, right? If you're not practicing those things, you will break down. You will get severe mental health issues. You will get to a point where things get so bad that you feel like there's no way back, right? So you need to bring in those things. So what I'm trying to explain is that we're born with a blank canvas. We absorb information. We become these pieces of information that we are, right? And we don't clear our system. We don't clear our brains by being still. Yeah, we don't reset. But if you buy a computer, right, and you keep uploading all of these systems and all of these things that you have, don't you have to do clear outs on your computer? Because if you don't, you get a virus, right? Mental health issue really is the issues that we face is we get a virus in our brain. It needs to be cleared, right? Sometimes medication may help some to just calm the mind. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's just a case of taking a few deep breaths, like I just showed you guys earlier. Take a few deep breaths. It reduces your anxiety. When you do that, do it again the next day. Do it again the next day. This time, do it a bit longer. You start to see that the brain starts to balance itself. Yeah, whatever chemical imbalances are going on, it starts to go like this and it starts to balance itself. And then you start to feel like, yeah, a little bit calmer. When you start to bring calmness into your mind, it then goes into your body, and then it creates this space of like awareness. You're more aware. That's why if anyone is thinking, what is she talking about? I'm talking about meditating. I'm talking about stillness. I'm talking about even taking nature walks, right? So imagine now reinventing yourself, which we did now, Claire. We've been reinventing ourselves, like you said right at the beginning. I loved it how you said it, which is, I said to myself, I've got a chance to start over. Who do I want to be? Who's Claire? What does Claire really need? Does Claire really need to be around these people that are no longer serving her? No, she doesn't. Do I care what I'm going to do about them or what they're going to say? No, I don't. What I do care is about my mental well-being and who I want to be. So what did you do? You took away the viruses that were pulling back the old Claire, and you said, now I'm going to draw a new canvas. My brain is clear. I now want to start a new life, and this is how my life is going to be. But it was never going to happen overnight, because if it happened overnight, woohoo, right? We would have done it ages ago. It's small, progressive steps that lead to massive achievement. And you said this very well. When I was a personal trainer, I was chasing success. Success meant how much money I had in my bank account. But one day I asked myself, what does success really mean to me? And I said, success means living a life that I am proud of, irrespective of what's in my bank account, because money does not make me happy, right? Yes, I charge for my services and my programs because it's something that I'm transforming in your life, and people have to invest in yourselves. I cannot give my time for free, right? However, that's not what's important to me. What's important to me is the life that I'm proud of is that I'm changing people's lives. Because I got a gift inside of me. I was able to coach myself out. God has asked me to share this gift with other people. That's what I'm proud of. And that changed the course of how I run my life and my business. Come to me, and I've had clients saying to me, I'm money on benefits, I'm money on this. I know you have the money. Let's find a way to find the money. And they find it, because the problem is this. We have such low self-esteem and low value of ourselves, right? So most people that come in and they come to me to work with me, they've been depressed, they've been anxious, they're running a business, things aren't going well. But I guarantee you they're spending a lot of money on making their business work, but they're not spending any money on working with the most important person, which is yourself. So if I say to them, and I had a client the other day on a discovery call, she said, I have no money. The form said she had no money to work with me. And I said to her, okay, what are you about to do next to elevate in your business? She goes, I'm going to do another course. I said, okay, how much does that course cost? She said, it costs £200. I said, so you do have money. I said, tell me what this course is going to do for you. It's going to create a new product. It's going to do this. I said, and clients are going to buy. She goes, yeah. I said, a client's not buying from what you currently have already? She goes, yeah. And I said, how many courses have you done? She goes, I've done so many courses. I said, do you think that the courses that you're doing is just a way to procrastinate from actually going even higher in your business? She goes, yeah, kind of. And I said, okay, this is what my program will do for you in a space of 21 days. Yeah? It's your choice. Either you buy the course and you carry on and you keep pouring into your business, yeah, from an empty cup, or you come to me and I help you to pour from a full cup. And then eventually you might be ready for that course again, or you might not even need the course. And she was like, yeah, you're right. But now I've left it up to her. So it's not like you don't have the money. It's because you don't feel you're worthy of investing yourself.
Or prioritizing yourself.
Prioritizing yourself because you think the whole world is more important than me. Right?
But it's interesting that you say that, Neusa, because I had to begin my journey in being a coach by investing in myself. I did. I had to.
You know what, me and Claire, let me even stop you there, Claire. Me and you have actually sat on the phone one time and said, you know what? Financially, this is tough, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're running a business. Right now, some clients are not buying and we still have to pay our coaches, but we knew we were worthy of investing. And look at where we are now. It was worth it, right? I would do it all over again if I had to. Well, I do have to.
Yeah, but you also you learn from the journey as well, don't you? You learn from every single part that has been a struggle, every single part that has been a hurdle. And you learn, well, look at me now. These were my hurdles, and now these are my hurdles. They're very different hurdles, because you move along the journey further. And the doubts and insecurities that you might have had before aren't going to be the same as what they are a week or years from that point. So it's a journey, like anything. It's a chapter in a book. You're going to be in a very different place after a period of time, that those challenges will seem like a very distant memory. Like mine, when I was at my worst point in my mental health, it feels like it happened to someone else somehow. So weird, because I've built up my mind, I've built up my self-worth, and I've built up all the incredible things that come from that, and I no longer identify with that person. And that's how it goes, isn't it?
Is how it goes. It's funny because the other day I've got a porch here, and you get little memories from your past, don't you, sometimes? And you go, wow, that was really me. I remember the depression was so bad and the anxiety was so bad that, and I was saying this to a friend of mine, and I said, I have a porch, right? The porch has a lot of sun in there. And I remember I didn't want to go outside in the spring or the summer, and it was really hot. And in my porch, it's really, really hot. You can get all the sun rays and you can walk, see people walking by. Now, that place should be a happy place, but it was a very miserable place for me, because if I stayed inside a house, I was afraid I would do something to myself, right? Because I had certain addictions, which was being on the internet trying to find the magic diet or the magic pill, because I had dysmorphia, right? So that wasn't healthy for me, because I'd look all day and then I'd start the next diet, which isn't healthy for me. Or there was a bit of self-harm. And I'm honest to say there was a bit of self-harm. So I'd be afraid to be at home, and I'll be afraid to go outside because I'm anxious around people, and having too many people around me made me feel, because I wasn't sleeping for years, so I felt like a zombie every time I was going outside. So you know what I would do? Just not to harm myself, I would close the door of my porch, sit inside my porch, watching everybody walk by, crying my eyes out, and the sun is blazing in my face, just so that I wouldn't be inside my house doing something negative or going outside feeling negative. My only way to protect myself was to sit in my porch and cry until my daughter came home. Just before she came home, I'd get up, go and have a shower, get ready, put on my face, because I didn't want her to see me like that. And I remember, like, I couldn't even talk about this without getting upset, but I remember just hoovering. I thought, wow, same house, and this memory just came up. Look how far I've come. Look how far I've come, but I'm not that same person. But I had to experience the depths of the pain on how bad I was for me to say, you know what? I have a choice. I don't have to live with mental health. I don't have to be this person. So who do I want to be? And if anyone is watching this show, is asking yourself the truest question. And if you don't know, my psychologist said to me, who were you before the depression? What did Neusa like to do before? And I said, oh, I like to socialize like this. And then, why are you not doing it? Because I'm tired. He's like, well, imagine if you're going to be tired for the rest of your life. You're still going to sit on your sofa and do nothing. You're in control. Take the driver's seat. Say yes to things that you normally would have done. And eventually, slowly, you're going to feel better. Already, I was like, oh, yeah, but my friends are going to. No, say yes. The more I said yes to myself, the more I said yes to the things that I used to enjoy, the more I said yes to being around people that I trusted, the better I felt. So it's that case of feel the fear and do it anyway. Yeah? We are the controllers of our lives. We can take that responsibility to take that step forward. And even those people that are on medication, you still have to do the inner work. You still have to connect to self. And as Adam said, it's work with your inner self. When we overcome the issues of mental health is when we truly know ourselves and truly connect with ourselves to say, you know what, this is me, this is who I am, and I accept me as I am. Yeah. And I'm going to do the work on myself to become a better version of me and do whatever it takes to get there, whether it's saying goodbye to people, whether it's saying, you know, moving home or whatever it is that you want to do, you can create it. But it's just saying, who am I and what choices do I have and who do I want to become? And finding the right people that are going to support you there to get to that space.
Do you know what? I'm so blessed to know you. so blessed.
Oh,
I do think that's a beautiful note for us to end on as well. Thank you ever so much for your comment, Adam. Awesome show, Claire. Proud of you. It's really nice to read that. Thank you.
Proud of you too, Claire.
Yeah, so I'm proud of you as well, my lovely, because you've made this such a beautiful experience.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I could sit here and listen to you for hours, but sadly we are only limited to an hour on here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play the closing video. I'm going to thank you all very much for being part of this wonderful premiere appearance of myself. And of course, thank you ever so much for welcoming on Neusa as well. She's such a beautiful soul. She almost emanates sunlight. She is such a beautiful soul to me.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. And I'm going to wish you all the best until the next time. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks for having me, Claire.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye.
Bye.